got to shoot this bit, Margaret. You've got to shoot it.
So, hi and welcome to this week's edition of the Whiteout Podcast. I'm Dom, publisher at In the Snow, and I'm here with my co-host, the man that in the last month has skied with legends such as Glenn Plake, Dan Egan, and no doubt more famous names than you could shake a stick at. He's the walking Hello magazine of the ski industry, Rob Stewart.
Thanks, Dom. I thought actually for a minute you were going to say that those legends had skied with me, not the other way around.
Yeah.
But I'll take that. I'll take that. Yes, I did get the chance to ski with some amazing people. Been a bit of a gap since we've last spoke, Dom, hasn't it? And obviously mainly because we've been doing the things that we are supposed to be doing, which is skiing.
Both been out in the mountains. You've been out in, where is it, Big Sky? And I've been out in Banff Lake Louise in Canada. So
yeah, and an amazing time it has been. I mean, I've managed to catch all the best snow conditions. Lucky me. And I've seen a few new places as well that have been on my list for a long time. And all that stuff about where was the snow sort of thing passed me by because I happened to be sitting in a small dark room when that happened. So I feel lucky about that.
Oh, that's good. So, Rob, this week we've also got our usual roundup of snow reports from around the world with what's been going on in snow ever since our little hiccup over the new year. We've got our news roundup, gear spotlight, and of course our resort top trumps. So it's resorts beginning with E, Rob. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I like that because I was in Engelberg in Switzerland last winter, so I'm going to go for that one. What about you, Dom?
Very good. I'm going for Elmau in Austria. So, yeah, could be quite an interesting little battle.
That's a nice place. I mean, I learned to ski in that area. It's lovely. And we are also going to switch our section on I didn't know you could ski there this week to a focus on some of the recent trips that we might have done. So I'm gonna talk about Big Sky, Montana later on today, which is a very exciting destination.
And next week we will cover my trip to Banff Lake Louise, where we did lots of very cool activities, and I managed to break my arm. So I can very heavily put the hospital situation in Canada. So yes. Rob, so yeah, that's what we've got coming up today.
Great. So I think onto your snow report then, Dom.
Very good. Well, snow has been pretty much in abundance for resorts all over Europe and North America, for that matter, for the last 2 to 3 weeks, which is fantastic news for everybody after a pretty shaky couple of weeks over Christmas and New Year after we had that downpour of rain, especially in the lower down resorts. But there's been a week or so of settled weather, general flurries of snow across the Alps, but generally some bright sunny days and plenty of snow to enjoy in most resorts. There are a number of weather fronts that are forecast to arrive from the north over the coming days. No doubt by the time this podcast goes out, they will already have come. But there's been dustings of snow in the north half of the Austrian Alps, including Lech and Kaprun, as well as the northeastern Swiss Alps, but didn't quite reach the likes of the Porte du Soleil. At the time of recording this, it looks like another big dump is on its way between 20 and 40 centimetres that will hit the likes of Kaprun and Oberton, possibly spreading up to Klosters and even possibly as far north as the Porte du Soleil. Meanwhile, the southern area of the Alps, the likes of Sestriere and Cortina, remain pretty dry, bright and cold. So in terms of country by country, if you're heading to France, mainly dry this week with possible snow in the Haute-Savoie resorts later this week. So that's Porte du Soleil, Grand Massif, Flaine and La Clusaz. In Austria, the southern Austrian Alps remain fairly dry earlier on in this week, but cloud is gathering further north and snow was seen down to 700-metre levels, which is pretty cool. And later this week, that snow can expect to build possibly up to as much as 60 centimetres, as low as 700 metres. So it's the northern part of Austria that's getting the share of the snow right now, and the southern part will probably not see hardly any. In Italy, a slightly drier week, but still cold and sunny, maintaining snow conditions, which is great. Freezing levels at around 1,500 metres. Again, similar situation there with cloud increasing in the eastern Italian Dolomites. And later this week, by the time this podcast goes out, they could well be seeing some flurries of snow there mid to late this week. They could continue later into the week and into the borders of Austria. But this is just the eastern part of the Italian Dolomites, and it's likely that the rest of the Italian ski resorts will remain cold. Clear skies, probably sunny, but probably not a lot of snow in the other parts of the Italian resorts. And in Switzerland, a similar story. Plenty of sunshine, although clouds increasing in the north and northeast later this week. Some possible flurries of snow in resorts to the east of Zurich down to 600 meters, with flurries of snow turning heavier later in the week, mainly in the northeast. So again, Klosters and Engelberg, Lax, possibly spreading northwest to the likes of Gstaad and Wengen. But resorts like Zermatt, St. Moritz will see little, if any, snow this week. As usual, snow forecasts are particularly difficult in the mountainous regions, as we all know, because things change so quickly. But at the time of recording this podcast, that's our best estimate for this weekend. That's the best snow forecast at the moment. The fact is, most resorts are having a pretty good time. Most resorts are in pretty good condition, and it's great to be reporting that.
That's all, folks.
I've got a bit of news
this week, Rob.
Yeah, I've got a bit of news. Another thing that cropped up actually in the national newspapers recently was about the French ski lift strikes. And, should we be concerned about that? Well, today, Tuesday, the 31st of January, was meant to be a strike day in the French Alps. But from what I can see, and I've looked everywhere and I've spoken to a few people about this, no one was affected by the lift strikes today. So I think we don't need to be concerned about these strikes. I think talking to people in resorts and lift companies, the situation is basically they want to show some solidarity for this industrial action. They want to say that they are particularly happy about certain conditions in certain resorts as well. And some people in some resorts are perfectly happy. It's complex situation. But the general feeling is that people are not going to be shut down for this. There won't be lifts shut down for days on end in ski resorts. It's not going to happen. There might be the odd case where the lifts open late in the morning. But that's probably the worst case scenario, unless things change. But right now, should we be concerned? Basically, no. Michaela Schifrin closes in on an all-time ski record. Sunday, January the 29th, American skiing superstar Michaela Schifrin was poised to become the joint record holder for the most ever Alpine World Cup wins alongside Sweden's Ingemar Stenmark.
Wow.
But unfortunately for Michaela, despite being in the top spot after the first run, Germany's Lena Dürr pipped up to the post by just 0.06 of a second. Ow, that was even Dürr's first ever World Cup slalom win. And Schifrin ended up in second place. I think most people would take that, but I feel it's just a matter of time before Michaela equals and then beats Stenmark's record, but we will need to wait a bit longer. Let's face it, Michaela should absolutely take that record to a place that might never, ever be reached again in our time. Although her boyfriend, Alexander Kilder, of course, might have something to say about that as well. He's not doing too badly. But the next Women's World Cup races take place in Crans-Montana on February the 25th and 26th, following the Alpine World Championships in France. So we'll have to wait for another World Cup race towards the end of the month.
Fantastic.
International Ski Patrollers Day. Let's all celebrate these unsung heroes of the slopes on February the 10th on International Ski Patrollers Day. It's an initiative set up by the outdoor brand Helly Hansen to help support professionals working in the mountains. And last winter, I actually spent a day with the ski patrollers in Glenshee, Scotland, and I can tell you it is a tough job. So Helly Hansen will be donating 5% of its online sales profits to ski patrol organisations around the world around February the 10th, I think from the 9th to the 11th. So check it out on hellyhansen.com. It's a great initiative. February the 10th, International Ski Patrollers Day. Just looking ahead now to the Alpine World Championships in Méribel and Courchevel. The biannual Alpine World Skiing Championships are starting on February the 6th, hosted jointly by Courchevel and Méribel. It's where the men and women join together for 2 full weeks of ski racing across all the Alpine disciplines, including downhill, Super G, giant slalom, Alpine combined, and the team parallel slalom. I'm really looking forward to this festival of ski racing. It's great to see awesome. The crowds. Yeah, and crowds will be back, after last time, 2 years ago, COVID restrictions meant no crowds at all in Cortina. So more information, go to www.courchevel-maribel2023.com, and the coverage is available live on Eurosport as well.
Epic, love it.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Industry ski test took place very recently.
Yep.
So Dom, I've just returned from the Snow Sports Industries of Great Britain on snow ski test in La Clusaz, where our own team from In the Snow magazine, skied on more than 50 skis that will be available to the public next season. It was a bit earlier than usual, and in France for the first time, but it was a great week. We even got to ski with Glenn Blake for the morning. Always very special, always special. So that's that industry test. It's only open to people in the industry, but there is another consumer test. It's open to the public, taking place in Pila, from March the 5th for a week. It's supported by the local operator Pila Ski, Retailer Ski Exchange, Snow Camp Charity, our friends there, and the Ski Club of Great Britain. The test provides a new opportunity to try all sorts of skis out, and there's a full social program through the week too, with Graham Bell attending, so you can race around with him. It does sound like a great week. Check it out on skiexchange.co.uk.
Yeah,
should be fun.
That's going to be very interesting. It's nice to see that happen, and I wonder if that will gather momentum. It's definitely good to see.
It's great for people have been wanting this for a while. They see if you're really into your ski equipment and you're really into checking all that gear out, you see that the industry ski test happen every year, and I'm sure there's lots of people out there. So I'd like to give that a crack myself. Yeah. So now they've got the chance.
Absolutely.
Very quick bit of extra news. Sorry, very quickly, a few other great results that we need to mention for British skiers over the last week or so.
Definitely.
Amazing. Michaela Gherkin-Schofield getting a bronze medal in a World Cup mogul event. I mean, I've got to mention that.
Incredible.
That's a great achievement. An X Games podium for Kirsty Muir in the slopestyle, and a gold in the X Games for Zoe Atkin as well. So, that's brilliant. There's also been medals for GB at the Para Snow Sports Alpine World Championships in Espot, Spain over the past week, with Menna Fitzpatrick and guide Katie Guest getting medals, and Neil Simpson and Rob Poth, they banked a gold, silver and bronze medals in the Super G slalom and giant slalom. So fantastic success there. And I know there's other stuff going on. We can't mention everything. There's cross-country stuff happening at the moment. Check out fissski.com. There's all the information about it on there. But there's a lot of ski racing, and British athletes are really performing. So it's great news.
Fantastic, isn't it? It has been a fantastic week. The inbox has been pinging all week with these superb results from a nation that nobody expects anything from. So, we should be really proud of ourselves, and long may it continue.
Absolutely. Yeah, right, Dom. So, gear for the week. The first one is a brand new Picture ski suit. It's the Welcome 3L jacket from Picture Organic Clothing. Of course, perfect for ski touring or downhill skiing sessions. It's got a dry play membrane and a water repellent treatment on the jacket as well. Ensures waterproofness and breathability, of course. It's excellent for those kind of long afternoons in the mountains, keeping you dry, keeping you warm. It's good for ski touring. There's an ergonomic hood, loads of pockets, zipped underarms with venting. There's loads of features. And retail price £389, but I think you pick it up for more like around 300. And it is available from Absolute Snow or Snow Leader. So that's the Welcome 3-layer jacket from Picture Organic. I've just got some new gloves and they look great, actually. The Black Diamond Impulse gloves. I've been eyeing these up for a while. Gore-Tex 100% waterproof and breathable with a Gore-Tex insert, goat leather outer construction, very durable, low profile neoprene cuff. I mean, that sounds a bit techie, doesn't it? But it just looks really cool, and it goes quite far up the wrist. It's got Primaloft insulation, 200 grams of that in the gloves. That's the gold cross core insulation on the back of the glove, and actually 80 grams of Primaloft gold eco insulation on the palm. So they've split that. EVA padding on the back of the hand, reinforced 2-layer highway area patches. They say the temperature range is down to -20. Your hands will stay warm, -4 to -20. So it's definitely for cold weather. £150. You get those from Ski Bartlett, and that's the Black Diamond Impulse gloves. Looking forward to actually trying them. I've just got them. Moving on to Apex goggles. This is a new distribution for the Apex goggle from the Wipeout store, wipeoutstore.com. Yeah. And I just checked them out actually in Le Clusaz last week. And they're great goggles. They look really good. Photochromatic lenses with tint change from category 1 to 3. Q-View, Apex's new misty weather lens technology, which increases contrast in extreme fog or cloud. Lots of little details on these goggles. And this is the 2023-24 collection, priced at £129. And that is available from the wipeoutstore.com. Check it out.
We love new things. So what have I got?
What about you, Dom? You found some stuff this week? You normally do.
I've gone off piste this week, Rob.
Oh.
Yeah, this week I am I've gone slightly off piste. I've gone
off piste with a broken arm. That's impressive.
Off piste with a broken arm. We love it. So the first thing I've got is a solo stove fire pit. This is your perfect après evening. It's a super efficient fire pit for on your patio or wherever you want it, out in your ski resort, just outside your chalet. They do portable ones as well. So very cleverly designed, that has super efficient airflow, so you can very quickly get a fire going. It's almost a smokeless fire, and it almost produces hardly any ash at all. So it's really nice, clean burning, even if you're chucking logs on and just chucking loose sticks or whatever it might be. And you get a really good fire going really quickly. And I know this isn't strictly ski gear, but it's good après gear. It's a very slick bit of kit. It looks absolutely great. You can get a full cooking station on top. So if you want to do your s'mores or if you want to do your marshmallows on top, you can do that. Wow. It's just a very slick little system. It's a couple of £100. I think they do various size ones. So they start from about 200, 250 quid, something like that. Really slick bits of kit, and it looks great. So if you've got one out on your patio, it actually looks the business as well.
Silly question, but I guess you can't put that in your baggage, right? That's a driving out job, right?
It is a driving out job, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Cool. And then the second thing I've got is Coros watches. Now, American company. If I'm honest, I've never been massively into these massive, great sport watches that tell you everything about yourself and your heart rate and your blood pressure and everything else. But I did get hold of the Coros Vertex 2 GPS Adventure Watch, and I have to say it is a pretty slick piece of kit. Super long battery life, 60 days battery life, or if you're using the full GPS functionality, 140 hours. Really nice sapphire touchscreen, titanium bezel, loads of activity modes, everything from running, hiking, kayaking, skiing, pretty much everything on there. Full training plans, workout support. It accesses all 5 major satellite systems, so you're never going to get that high building problem of not being able to find where you are, which is a massive improvement on GPS plotting. It's got a really nice, super fast interface, so you don't get any of that time lag. It's just a really nice quality piece of kit, and it's nice and lightweight to ski with. So if you think of yourself as a bit of an adventurer, which I think we all do, definitely a watch to look at. $699. Wow. What's that, about, I don't know, 550 odd quid, something like that, 560 quid,
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, really nice bit of kit.
I'll check that out. I've never heard of that, or that brand, but it sounds interesting. Sounds good.
Coros, Coros. Okay. We'll put that in the link to the notes to this podcast. And my final one is the Lecky Airfoil 3D pole. So, I know you know it, but our listeners, I don't know whether you know about this, a trigger system that Lecky use quite often. It's like a hook on the top of a ski pole and a loop that goes onto your ski gloves. You either buy the gloves from Lecky that has the loop built in, and it essentially is to replace the whole loop system that you would have on a normal ski pole. So you end up with a little loop, a tiny little loop between your thumb and your forefinger that catches onto the hook on the top of the pole, and then you ski off. Very slick little system. It snaps on and snaps off in the case of an accident, and you have a little trigger release when you get to the to stop for a drink, or if you stop for the ski lift or whatever it might be. I think it's a little bit of a Marmite thing. You either love it or hate it, this kind of thing. Debs loves it. She couldn't live without it. And in fact, you can adapt.
So many people do.
Yeah. And you can adapt your own gloves. So you can buy a little strap that goes onto your own gloves, permanently fixes onto your own gloves to use this trigger system. And she loves it. I look at it and sort of think, I find the amount of times that I want to hang my poles on something, and then you find you haven't got a loop, it's a pain in the ass. But, it's horses for courses of what you like. Yeah. Anyway, the new Airfoil 3D system has an upgraded trigger system to allow for 220 degrees of release, meaning much more protection in the event of an accident, which is obviously very slick. The Airfoil version is more aerodynamic, helps to dampen vibrations, super lightweight and strong. These poles look really nice. Surely that alone makes you want to buy a set. And they are £105 a pair, so pretty good value as well. Definitely, listeners, go to our YouTube channel, In the Snow Mag on YouTube, and subscribe, because we've got loads of videos coming out on all the latest gear to be reviewed for the 23-24 season. It just means you get, you'll get first dibs on seeing this stuff and deciding what you might want to buy, because we all want to buy something new every season, don't we? Great place to see us reviewing some of the latest gear and skis. So definitely get over to YouTube and check out In the Snow Mag. So that's our gear roundup for this week. On to top trumps, Rob. We love it,
Dom.
I know I'm winning. I'm winning this week.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it, comparing ski resorts? And I think the ones we've got this week, even though the only thing that really is similar about these two resorts is the fact that they both begin with E.
Yeah,
I've got Engelberg,
Elmau from Austria.
Yeah,
in the ski world area. So hit us with it. Tell us about Engelberg.
Okay. All right. Well, I first went to Engelberg last winter, and it's one of those resorts that's been on my list for a long time, and managed to get there. It's located in central Switzerland. It's the largest ski resort in the region. Pretty easy to get to from Zurich or Basel airports. It feels like a proper town, if you know what I mean. It's I wouldn't say it was picture postcard, but it is a very Swiss feeling. The town's got a real sort of Swiss atmosphere, combining modern and traditional architecture. The Titlis Mountain and that has a revolving cable car. It goes all the way up to the top of Titlis, and it's amazing. And it dumps you in this top of this incredible freeride terrain. It's pretty epic. Huge verticals, some very, very steep and deep opportunities everywhere you look. But there's also loads for beginners as well. Some really nice blue runs above the village, very easily accessed. And the areas down there, it's very quaint, it's very pretty and very Swiss. Intermediates, there's lots of very long red runs. I mean, it's not the largest area in the world, but those red runs are long. You can go from the top to the bottom, big verticals. I would say generally it's not all about the piste skiing in Engelberg, but there are lots of nice long blues and reds. I actually stayed at the ski lodge, which is a little slice of Sweden in the middle of Switzerland. Great place though. Love the atmosphere there. It was amazing. I'd love to go there again. Definitely right up with one of the best freeride skiing places I have ever been to. So There we go. That's Engelberg.
Sounds good. So that sounds like a tough one to compare.
What about you, Dom?
Elmau. Yeah, it's part of the ski belt area in Austria. It's about an hour east of Innsbruck and about 15 kilometers northwest of Kitzbühel, just to place it in people's minds. It's fair to say there are certain characteristics a resort should have for first-time and not so experienced skiers. So good nursery slopes, generous offering of easy blue runs for people to progress onto, and maybe a bit of a lack of crowds. And this place has it all. But also has something else. It also has access to one of the world's largest linked ski areas. The ski belt network of slopes around Sol and Hofgarten and Bixum in Thale offers a massive network of intermediate friendly piste. So that's a really nice addition to this sort of essentially family stroke beginners area of skiing. Fantastic panoramic views across to the Wilde Kaiser Mountains and several huts where you can relax and soak up the epic atmosphere. So it's very, very nice on that front. It's not the highest resort. So obviously you have to be a little careful in terms of the ideal time to go to catch good snow. But obviously snow is weather and it can come at any time. They've invested heavily in artificial snow making, so that does help as well. So there's also there's always decent piste coverage throughout the season. And price-wise, it is one of the more affordable resorts. So you'll obviously pay a little bit more during the peak periods, but overall, generally, this is a really great resort for beginners and families, a bit more affordable, great views, and some nice progressive blue runs for people to hop onto as they get better at skiing.
That's our opinions, isn't it? Should we get down to the data? Get down to the science.
Down to the data. Yeah, exactly. So resort level, Rob, whereabouts is what level is Engelberg?
Engelberg resort level is around 1,000 meters.
All right, you just picked me there. We're at about 820 meters, so a little bit lower, but not too far off. Not too far off.
Yeah, and what about the highest point?
1860 is really where the mountain goes up to. I think that's the.
But no, I think if you could ski to 2,344 meters, I think that's a fair.
Yeah.
You know, that's fair enough. I get it. But Engelberg, just over 3,000.
Massive. That's lovely, isn't it?
Big mountain.
Yeah. And what about kilometers a piece? What have you got in Engelberg?
Well, you know, it's only half the story, right? It's only half the story. Engelberg has around 80 kilometers of groomed pistes. But that doesn't include the sort of marked off-piste itinerary sort of stuff that they have all over the place there that we skied on.
Okay.
Actually. But yeah, piece-wise, 80. What about you? What about Elmau? I don't. Go on, give it to me.
If I'm going to include the linked ski areas, which we've just agreed we can, 248 kilometers. Massive.
Wow.
Massive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot, isn't it? That's amazing.
It's a lot.
Number of lifts. Engelberg, Dom, has 18 of them.
18. Yeah. Very good. 90 across the ski route.
90. So it's a different kind of setup, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Looking at a different kind of resort. Scores out of 10, starting for beginners. I have given Engelberg 8 for beginners because I think it's pretty good, actually.
Well, definitely a 9, possibly even a 9.5.
That's fair enough. Good beginners resort. Yeah. Families, I've given it a 7 for families.
Again, similar story with me. I would give it a 9 or a 10. It's just really geared up for this. They've got kids crashes and all that sort of stuff. So it's very, very geared up for the family and the kiddie market. So.
Free ride and experts. Well, I've just given Engelberg a 10 for that because, for what I've said before, I don't need to expand on that.
Yeah. So classing the resort on its own, I would probably give it about a 6, maybe. I know that sounds harsh, but it's not a resort you would choose to go to for the free ride.
Yep, sounds fair. Accommodation choice. I've given Engelberg an 8.
And I've gone for a 7.
Okay. Food and drink.
I've said a 6/7.
I've given Engelberg a 7 as well. Après ski. I think if you were looking for that proper après, or off the slopes and big parties or late at night stuff, so maybe I'll actually end up saying 6.5 for après, just to be fair.
And that's where I am as well. I mean, it's not somewhere where you go for the après scene.
So totaling that up, as per usual, it's very close, Dom. These things often are. So I'm basically a 46-ish, and you're a 45-ish. So again, like we normally do, we should almost calling that quits. Very, very different resorts though. I would say pitched at different people. Although I think families could get a lot out of both of them.
Yeah.
Engelberg and Elmau.
I've got to find a resort beginning with F for next time.
Fieberbrunn, Finkelberg. Am I making that up?
Finkelberg, you're definitely making that up. I'll have to have a think. I'll have to have a think about it.
Boben. No, I'm making that up as well.
Val d'Isère.
Oh, gosh. Foggy Bottom. Yeah. Folgarida. That's an F. No, it's definitely a Folgarida.
That's the Canary Islands, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Oh, bugger. I thought it was a skiing place in Italy. Sure it is. Folgarida. I'm sure it. Folgarida. Yeah, I'm sure it's a ski resort.
There is. I've just checked. There is a Folgorita in Italy.
Ah, there you go. Yeah.
Phil's Moose. That's what you're getting.
Phil's Moose near Innsbruck.
You're doing that one. Whatever happens, you're getting that one.
Phil's Moose.
Phil's Moose. I'm gonna tuck my pillow and put my eye patch on while you tell us about your trip to your trip to Big Sky, Montana.
Big Sky, Montana.
Big Sky, Montana. What's the route plan?
Well, it's pretty easy actually. Flew Heathrow, Chicago in, and then Chicago to Bozeman. So there's 2 flights to get there. But the cool thing is it's only an hour's drive from Bozeman, so there's not a long transfer on the other side. And then when you are there, there's plenty of accommodation. They have accommodation right up at the resort itself, right by the ski lifts. They call that the village, Big Sky Village. And that's where I stayed. I stayed in a place called Huntley Lodge, which was built in 1972, I believe. It was the original hotel in Big Sky. It's been fully renovated recently, so the rooms are very smart. They have a great breakfast there in the morning, great buffet breakfast.
Nice.
And that's reasonably good value for staying up on the mountain at Big Sky. Comes in at around £200 a night for a room, cool. Which, you know, is about the starting price if you're going to stay up in the village area. There are other hotels up there as well. There's a 4-star hotel which would be about twice that kind of price, right on the slopes, right next to Huntley Lodge. There's also apartments, as they say, condominiums up there as well. There's 1, 2 and 3 bedroom apartments that can be rented out through Big Sky Resort. The resort looks after all of that accommodation up there in the village center. Okay. Then down about 7 miles down the road from that, there is what is called the town center, which also has a selection of hotels. There's lots of restaurants down there. There's some nice bars. It's got a really cool atmosphere. There's a kind of a brewery there that it's really nice to go to. And a lot of people do stay down at the town center as well, but you just have to either drive or bus it up that 7 miles to the ski area every day. Not too difficult to do, but obviously it was nice. It was nice to stay right up at the accommodation itself. So yeah, Big Sky, biggest skiing area in North America, alongside, you know, Park City. And actually, surprisingly, I thought Big Sky is really well known for its steep terrain. You know, this kind of free ride and triple black diamonds that they've got there, some of the steepest terrain in North America. But actually, there's tons and tons of amazing on-piste skiing for beginners and intermediates. Okay. So the vast majority of the skiing area is this wide open, groomed runs that go through the forest. They're absolutely beautiful. They're very, very well kept, and they're really quiet most of the time. Yeah. I mean, they're just like, you will be standing on one of these runs and there'll be nobody around at all. Wow. Very, very nice in that respect. But then you've got Lone Mountain, right? And Lone Mountain is this standalone peak. It's kind of a bit of an anomaly, really, in the area. It looks, I think it is an old volcano, very ancient volcano. And it looks like that. It's just this proper looking mountain. And it's got a single cable car going up from the bottom. And it's quite, you know, if you think about the likes of the Aiguille Midi cable car, it's not quite that extreme, but, you know, the Aiguille Midi cable car in Chamonix or Montgelée in Verbier, I would say is quite comparable to that. It goes straight up this mountain, and you've got all of this free ride terrain up there. There's no groomed slopes on Lone Mountain. It's all either black. There's maybe one black diamond, so a hard run. Then there's quite a few double black diamond runs. And then there's also triple black diamond runs, which are, you know, actually, there's not many of those in North America, graded triple blacks. So you've got this whole mountain with steep terrain coming off of it. It's a playground for free ride skiing. And that cable car only takes 15 people. It was built in the 90s, and they're just about to replace it this summer with a brand new cable car taking around 65 people up that mountain at a time. Cool. I was lucky enough to go and plug into Dan Egan's steep camp for 3 days in Big Sky. And that was a really interesting experience. So Dan Egan, legendary, you know, free ride skier from the Roran Miller films, all that kind of stuff. He's an ambassador for Big Sky. He works for Big Sky with the ski school as well. And the whole goal of those 3 days at the end of it on the Friday was to ski the big C, the big couloir that comes off Lone Mountain. If you go and check out the big couloir coming off a Lone Mountain, it looks properly scary. And when you stand at the bottom of that thing, it looks really scary.
Wow.
So it was really, really good experience. The other amazing thing about that week was a visit to Yellowstone National Park, which is only an hour's drive away. And
Nice.
then in winter, you have to skidoo in. We had a 30-mile skidoo ride. We just grabbed a skidoo, not quite grabbed, but we were guided, and we were all on skidoos, driving them through Yellowstone National Park for 2 hours to get to Old Faithful, to watch that go off and check out all the hot springs along the way. And then the animals like bison, coyote, we saw a wildcat, a bobcat, we saw, very, very rare. And we saw a bald eagle as well, and
Wow.
elk. And honestly, one of the most memorable days out I have had in my entire life.
How fun.
And I didn't know what to expect out of Yellowstone. It's a super volcano that's 40 kilometers across each way. And if it goes off, we're all screwed, basically. And the last time it went off was about 700,000 years ago. And the people that live there are not worried about it. Let's put it that way. They say there's no signs that this thing is going to go off anytime soon. I mean, we'd probably have several years of kind of build up to a big event. And there's no sign of that happening. But if it did, and you really feel that you're inside this volcano, because you can see the crater around you, like 20 miles one way and 20 miles the other. It's an incredible place, and I would recommend anybody, just if they were going to Montana to go skiing, make a day out of going to Yellowstone.
Fantastic. I love the sound of it, Rob. You've really sold it to me. I hope my very regular Banff Lake Louise trip comes up to your expectations next week when we speak next week.
Well, I'm sure it will. Banff's an incredible place. But I was really impressed with Big Sky, and of course it's not as famous as some of these other places in America.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So that's it for this week's podcast. I'd encourage listeners to listen to many of our previous episodes, which apart from the snow reports and the weather reports, have all got some great information in there, great gear for this season, and lots of news and cool places to visit. What are we doing between now and the next time we meet, Rob? Where are you next week?
Tomorrow, I am heading off to Switzerland, and I am attending the City Ski Championships organised by Momentum in Crans-Montana. So, yeah.
Very good. You'll be donning your lycra and racing down the slopes against some city boys and girls. Sounds like good fun. But my next trip, which has been delayed now, will be heading to Colorado at the end of March. So I'm going to be out of action for a few weeks of going skiing. Let's hope the snow conditions carry on for all of those happy listeners out there going out and enjoying the ski conditions. And very best of luck for next week, Rob. I hope your ski racing goes really well.
Thanks, Dom. And we will obviously keep everyone updated on your progress with your arm. And I think by the sounds of things, at least you are going in the right direction at the moment. And I'm very confident you're going to get to Colorado in March. So. It's going to happen. Yeah.
Cool. Very good. Okay. Good to talk this week, Rob. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Dom.
Adios.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Mais non, talkie-walkie.
Pretty sure it's called a walkie-talkie, mate.